Chargers Central here, back again to break down the latest going on with the Bolts. How's it going, Levon?
Going good. How are you?
Good. So every now and then we talk about some fantasy football as it relates to the Chargers. We have a question that's been coming up a lot often here. Omarion Hampton or TreVeyon Henderson? Who's going to be better for fantasy? What are your thoughts?
I mean, always when it comes to fantasy, I'm a homer. I want Glad, I want Hampton, Herbert, Keenan, all these guys. And when the draft happened, Hampton was going around the 30th pick. Henderson was going around 50 to 60. Recently, Hampton's been going around 32, 33. Henderson has dropped like 41. And I think the biggest reason why is because Greg Roman said that it's not going to be a workhorse type of role for any of these running backs that we currently have, whether it's Najee Harris, Hampton, any of these guys. So I think that kind of put fear into fantasy football drafters. Whereas in New England, Ramondre Stevenson is still there, but fumble issues there. So Henderson could be the workhorse over there, the 3-down back. On top of that, if we're talking PPR, he's likely going to get the pass catching opportunities. Whereas in a Greg Roman system, running backs don't tend to, there's no pass catching back technically, historically speaking, in a Greg Roman offense. Hopefully that changes because I think Hampton is capable of that. But specifically this season, I want to say Henderson right now has the edge. But if Hampton's getting, let's say, 10 to 12 touches, that's more than efficient for Hampton. Whereas Henderson, if he gets 15 to 17, which is around where I could see him getting the amount of touches, I think based on just sheer volume, Henderson has the edge this season. But take Greg Roman out of the picture, future-wise, I think Hampton will have a better career.
Well, yeah, I think Henderson's shooting up draft boards also because preseason, you see what he's doing. He took a 100-yard kickoff his first time touching the ball. He's had some great runs, explosive runs. He had a touchdown last game. And he's breaking tackles and he looks good. And, he's gotten more time to show off in the preseason. Hampton's just got a few carries here and there. I've seen Hampton a lot in camp, and I'm really impressed with him. He, you can just see this sea of big bodies, and then him shoot through it. He finds the hole, and he's explosive. He's explosive too. We just haven't seen it like we have Henderson in the preseason as much. So I'm really high on Hampton. I remember us talking about drafting Henderson, before we got Hampton, maybe getting him in the second round. And it was always, he's an explosive back, but he's probably only going to get 8 to 10 touches because he's not the typical, bell cow back that you're looking for. So I have concerns about that with Henderson, and with Stevenson there. I know Ramondre isn't an exciting fantasy option, but he has put up fantasy numbers in the past when he's been given the opportunity. And they still have Antonio Gibson there too. So it could be a 3-headed monster. But as far as the Chargers, I know Roman doesn't want to go with a workhorse back. Those days are kind of over. But I do see Hampton having the biggest role out of anyone, just because the Najee Harris eye injury. I mean, I thought Harris would start off the season as the 1A and Hampton 1B, but that injury really set Harris back, without getting any practice in. So Hampton is the number 1 right now, and they're looking for the number 2. Whether it be, Rocket Sanders or, Vidal or Miller Hines. But yeah, I really think Hampton's gonna come out strong, and they need him to. We need to establish the run. Um, there are questions with the offensive line, with losing Slater. But the thing about our weak spots, Zion, Bozeman, they're still better run blockers than they are pass blockers. So, yeah, and we're gonna get two tight end sets in there. We're gonna get big Matlock in at fullback. You're gonna have a ton of big guys out there blocking, um, and we have to establish the run. We weren't able to last year with JK in and out of the lineup, and he'd break off an explosive run every now and then, but he'd a lot of times it'd be like 3 yards. Gus wasn't doing anything for us. So Hampton has the tools, and the thing I'm excited about in training camp, I have seen Hampton catching passes. He's a good pass catcher. He's explosive catching the pass, and I think Roman would be a fool not to use his pass catching abilities. So,
hey, I really hope he's a pass catcher, because I have him in every league. I've personally taken Hampton over Henderson in every league. There's one league that's a dynasty league where I have back-to-back picks, third and fourth. So I'm hoping to take Henderson and Hampton in that league. But I'm taking Hampton over Henderson. It's just my biggest concern is Roman, the way he utilizes him, and the workhorse thing. I mean, again, like you said, though, Henderson coming into the league, he was not really a workhorse. No one expected him to be one. But the way that the Patriots have utilized him in training camp, in preseason, it seems like he's a clear RB1. It seems like he's going to be the pass catching back too. And they don't have like receivers. They have Diggs, but there isn't much there to work with. So in terms of weapons for Drake May, Henderson's like maybe the second or third best option they have. So it'll be interesting to see that matchup. I think that'll be a matchup discussion for years to come. Who's going to be the better back in fantasy? In terms of real life, though, I think Hampton's the better back without a doubt. I mean, even just those 2 runs that we saw against the Rams, like just him churning and not allowing that defense to take him down. There were like 3-4 bodies on the ground, and he's still going. So he's going to be special. And I'm taking Hampton over Henderson in fantasy. But in terms of this season, unless Roman includes Hampton in the passing game, if he does, then this is a different story. I think the perception is that he's not going to, that he's going to be more just a straight running back. But we'll see. We'll see how that plays out. Although I do hope, on a different note, talking about Greg Roman, he lets Herbert take over that offense. And what I mean by that is the last 3 weeks of last season, Herbert was himself, minus the Texans game, just a regular season. He was himself. He was getting his targets. He was getting enough pass attempts to be effective. And now, again, I think he has the best supporting cast in his career. So you got to let him be him, and not kind of be restricted and force the run. Also, it's going to be a tougher schedule this year. So you may be playing from behind at times. You got to let him throw the ball.
I agree. And it's going to be interesting to see if Herbert runs like he was at the end of the regular season, because it seems like he was going to before he had that high ankle sprain. And that would unleash a whole nother side of this offense and fantasy wise too.
Yeah.
I mean, and people aren't expecting Herbert to run. He's getting picked low in drafts because of Greg Roman. But if he starts, breaking off some of these long runs like he can, it adds another dimension, and teams have to account for that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm buying the dip. I'm buying the dip of Vlad too, because people think that Keenan's going to take his targets. I don't think that's necessarily true. I think they will coexist just fine. And I don't think people forget that in Georgia, Vlad was not the slot. He was more outside receiver. He plays slot, but it was more outside. So he can play outside. And Keenan can play outside. We've seen him play outside too. So I don't think it's going to make a difference. I mean, we saw the Rams' first drive, the first drive against the Rams. He found Lad for a 17-yard catch with Keenan on the field. So I don't think that's going to take anything away from Vlad. It's more so the other guys like Johnston, Trey Harris, KLS. But at the same time, it's not like people are drafting those other guys, high up. Out of those three, though, that I just named, I think the guy to draft is KLS because you could get him dead last round and, make or break. I mean, any of those guys that you're taking last, it's, you just don't know. It's a toss-up. So I think KLS is the guy to draft there because I just don't know Trey Harris and Johnston. I don't know what kind of role they're going to have with Keenan and Ladd on the field. But KLS, I think he will be the deep threat for this team.
Yeah, going back to Ladd, a reporter asked him about playing in the slot, and he got defensive about it. He's like, I can play anywhere. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
And he can.
Right.
Yeah, and when QJ took that hit and he got the concussion, KLS was the first one to come in and make a big play right after that. He's been the most impressive in training camp.
Mm-hmm.
I will say that the staff still believes in QJ. He's still been a starter, working with the ones in training camp. I don't know if this concussion changes anything. I think he's still a touchdown threat. He could still have 8 to 10 touchdowns if all the coverage is going to Ladd and Keenan. But yeah, like I know all Charger fans are concerned about the drops and
which is valid, but at the same time, it's like, it's not the time to bring that up when, he just got injured. Just, I don't know. Sometimes the fans just get carried away and don't think when they talk, especially after a moment like that. But, wishing him a speedy recovery. To end this debate, I think the Henderson-Hampton debate, I think redraft-wise, Henderson, if Roman does not make Hampton a passing back. But dynasty-wise, Hampton all day, because I just don't envision Henderson having a better career than Hampton. It's just based on the volume that I'm hearing, Henderson can get more volume, which would be surprising because, like you said, he's never been a workhorse. Also, those types of running backs who weren't workhorses in college come into the NFL and have that type of role, they tend to get injured. So there's that aspect too. So be careful of drafting him too early, because I've seen that too. They draft him too early, and then he gets hurt, and that's that for them. So
that would be my concern as well.
Yeah.
So I'm taking Hampton both redraft and dynasty. I'm a homer, but I did watch these preseason games. I did see Ramondre get a good amount of work too. So that concerned me for Henderson, because I think Ramondre can still be effective. He's not explosive like Henderson, but it's kind of that Najee Hampton thing. And now you take Najee out of the picture,
Right. I think the thing with Stevenson is what fans are expecting is that the fumble issue is going to continue, and the coaching staff is going to just cut the cord with him. Another thing about Najee is he's going so late in drafts now. He's a value pick.
Yeah.
Because he's going to come back. Like, it's not like he's going to be out for the year. He's going to come back, and he may even play week 1. We don't know. But when he does come back, I fully expect 8 to 10 touches at the least from Najee. So if he's there 12th through 14th round, that's a steal in my opinion.
I agree because I still see him being a goal line back.
Too.
Yeah.
That's I hope as a Omarion Hampton fantasy owner in all leagues, it's not the case. But I think at least to start the season, he will be if he plays. If not, I think Hampton gets those carries. But if he plays, I think he will be the goal line back.
Yeah, yeah, it'll be interesting to see if Najee starts on the PUP list. That brings us to another question. The 53-man roster is coming up next week. They have to make cuts. There are certain fan favorites on the bubble. There's Rocket Sanders. I've seen an online debate between him and Kimani Vidal. You got Naheem Miller-Hines in there too. So which running back is out, do you think? And that's assuming Najee is on the PUP list. You only have to cut one of these guys. If Najee's back, it's like two of these guys have to be gone. So
this is assuming Haskins is part of the special teams.
Yeah. I'm assuming he has a role because of special teams.
Yeah. I mean, some are saying they'd sign Hines to the practice squad if nothing else, or special teams. I think the thing with Haskins is you got to keep him because he's a good blocker, and you definitely need that, especially with the Slater injury. You definitely need that. So Haskins and Hampton obviously are safe. Harris is safe. Okay, getting to the Sanders Vidal one, that is so tough for me. The last game that they played, Sanders outplayed Vidal. We saw what he could do last year. That Broncos game, I think, was his best game. The touchdown catch from Herbert. But Sanders, he's like a bullet. Like, if he was a little bit bigger, he kind of reminded me of Mike Tolbert. He's just like, he's a bulldozer, He gets that ball and he's not even thinking. He's just going straight at you, straight at the defender. I like the potential of Sanders. So personally, I would like to see Sanders make that 53-man roster. I think Vidal, he will improve, but you got better competition now. So if, last year we didn't have that great of a RB committee and he couldn't really separate himself. This year it's a lot better, and I don't see him separating himself at all this year. I mean, we've seen the 3 preseason games. I think Sanders has outplayed him.
I agree, and it pains me to say because I've interviewed Vidal and he's a cool guy. I like him as a person, and I want to see him succeed. I'm hoping we can keep him on the practice squad. I don't know. I don't know if another team would scoop him up, but Sanders, he has so much potential. He's a guy you especially need there if Najee can't go, if he's on the PUP list. I think he can become that 1B to Hampton. Just the explosiveness, like you said, the power running over guys. We've seen it, and I've also seen it too in camp, but we've seen it in these preseason games.
Yeah. I mean, even if Najee, let's say, goes down this season, you need a backup, so a reliable one. And I just don't think that Vidal's shown that, unfortunately. Like, I just think that you got to give Sanders a chance at least to see what he's made of in the regular season. But even going forward, this is just a 1-year deal for him. So, you need 2 reliable running backs. And if Sanders can prove himself this year, that's perfect for them next year, because then during the draft, you can focus on other positions like an offensive lineman. But more so inside O-line. But speaking of inside O-line, good to see Beckham back at practice. We need him out there. We definitely need him out there. And we'll get more into the Chiefs matchup next week. But we need every single person healthy, because you can't really afford any more injuries on that offense. You just can't.
No. And you think about other roster battles here. There's We've had different corners who have flashed. Nico Reed in the Hall of Fame game against the Lions. Eric Rodgers before he got injured. Um, so what do you do if you have to choose between those guys? You probably stash Rodgers on the injured reserve if you can, but do you keep a Nico Reed, over somebody else?
I love this defense. They're young, they're hungry, they want it. You feel like they want to go out there and win. And this is exactly what Cleveland Mack needs, because Mack, let's be real, he's got 1-2 years left at most, so he wants that Super Bowl run. This is the kind of defense that you need around him. So, yeah, you still have Derwin, right? Another veteran presence. I think you got to keep as much as you can from this defense. Like Eric Rodgers was very impressive. I want to see more. I want to see what he can do. So I think, if he's on the IR, get as many of these defenders as you can on your team. I think that's the goal for the Chargers, because they all look so promising. And with Jesse Minter, he was incredible last year. I think this year is an even better defense than last year, because Thule seems like he's improved, and he had to. There's no option there because Bosa's gone now. He had to improve. And the defensive tackles, I think, look pretty good. So I see a lot of promise from this defense. Let's not forget Junior Colson. He's still very young and also, has potential. Deion Henley, I think by next year will be the leader of that linebacker room. Right now it's Perriman, but I think next year he'll be the leader. But only getting better for Henley. So this is a scary defense. So I'd like to see all these guys, however many you can, at least, keep them on this team.
Yeah, even Marlo Wax, he's looked great at linebacker, playing a lot of these games. Honestly, he's looked better than Junior. So it's like, can you keep five linebackers with Troy Dye? It's like
Troy Dye was good too.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be interesting. The thing with Colson is he's a Michigan guy, so is Harbaugh gonna be able to get rid of him? I just don't see it. It's the same with Haskins. I don't see it. But at the same time, Colson last year was dealing with injuries the whole year, and this year I think it's gonna take time for him to get going, because technically, that was his rookie year, but it was cut short, barely played any games. So I got to just give him another year. I think giving another year, this is more of a development year for him. But like you said, same with Vidal. It's the same situation. More competition now. So you got to either step up or be at risk of getting cut.
Yeah, and there's another competition I thought of it in the edge room. Besides the big two, of Mack and Thule, you've got Murphy, who's made some splash plays. You got Bash, who's been a preseason star before, and I think he had a sack last game too. And then Kyle Kennard hasn't really shown us that. He's barely played. Hasn't really shown anything in camp either. So
I was gonna ask that. I was gonna be like, has he shown anything in camp? Because if he has, then maybe they're keeping him for the season. But if not, then that doesn't bode well for him.
But I think they're still gonna keep him since he's a high pick. They want to give him time to develop, so that leaves either Murphy or Bash out. You can't keep all these guys. So.
I'd be surprised if Murphy's cut.
Yeah.
I would be very surprised if Murphy's cut. It'll be interesting. There are a lot of tough decisions to be made. So it'll be interesting to see what they do. But overall, though, that defense, I'm very excited about. I know this year it's a tougher schedule for the Chargers. You get playing a lot of good quarterbacks, especially at home. But I think they'll get it done. They'll be fine. They'll make the playoffs, specifically because of this defense. And I get the worry from some fans about Greg Roman. I get it. Trust me, I would. I was thinking the other day, now that we got Keenan back, imagine Kellen Moore as the OC for this team. I think that would have been perfect for this specific team. Keenan, Ladd, any of those 3 wide receivers, Hampton. This would have been perfect for Kellen Moore to operate, and would work in Herbert's favor too, because Moore would kind of give Herbert the keys and say, "Okay, here, take this and be the driver of this offense." So I kind of hope Roman does that. I just don't know, because historically speaking, we haven't seen that. So we'll see.
Well, I get the philosophy with Roman. You want to pound the football. You want to wear teams down. You don't want to give Patrick Mahomes a chance to beat you.
Yeah.
And if you're a high flying offense, that we saw what happened before. We had a terrible defense, but we'd put points up, but they would too, and we'd lose in the end.
Yeah.
So
no, I agree with that. I think the frustration was like last year with Gus Edwards, for example, just yards per carry were nothing. This year, I think Hampton will get 5-6 yards. Najee will come in and get 4. So that's a difference, right? If you're going to pound the ball, but you're going to also get those yardages per carry, that's a big difference than, Edwards getting 1 or 2 yards and you keep pounding. Like, don't force it. And I was saying this last year too. Don't force the run. But like the week 1 game against the Chiefs, if we have Najee out there, I think we're going to pound the ball. Because like you said, you don't want Mahomes to get that ball back, and especially in the 4th, because we've discussed this before with the refs. You just don't want that. So in that case, yes, I agree. But not if it's just 1 or 2 yards and then you force Herbert to do a 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8. It just doesn't work. It might this year because you have more than one option for 3rd downs, Ladd and Keenan. But last year it wasn't working. So hopefully they adjust.
Yeah, I think the run game has to work for Roman, or I think you have to get rid of him. If you can't get the run game going, that sets up everything. That sets up their play action pass, which they love to do, and they're really efficient at it.
Yeah. And they will do more, I think, this year of that, because you have deep threats now, including Trey Harris. I think Trey Harris can be a deep threat. It's just KLS. He's just so good that I don't know. He might overtake Harris in playtime. That remains to be seen. That's going to be a battle too.
Yeah.
But it's a good battle to have.
It is, because teams aren't going to be able to stack the box like they did last year, because we had no deep threat, really.
Yeah.
So teams were just stacking it up, and that that hurt the run game too.
True. Yeah. It's just a concern of, again, not having Slater. But like you said, those inside O-lines, at least they're solid blocking when it comes to the run game.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. I'm still concerned about Pipkins. But with Becton there, I think it'll be a bit better than last year. But we need more than that. We need more than a bit better. We need him to be on top of his game, because we can't afford an injury, especially to Herbert. So Pipkins has to really wake up.
Yeah, and I think Pipkins is a better right tackle than he is a guard.
Yeah.
So that helps. And then having those extra blockers in, and with this line, with the deficiencies in pass blocking, with Zion and Bozeman, you really have to run the ball more, because you don't want them on their toes, because they're going to miss stunts. Teams are going to blitz. You want to run a lot because of that too. So,
do you think they try Zion at center and Salyer at left guard?
I think if we're having issues, I think they're going to switch things up. If things are looking like that Houston game again, they're going to try different things. But I don't think that's what they're going to start off with.
So who's the starting center, do you think?
I think it's Bozeman.
Yeah. Man, I hope he delivers, because last year was bad.
Yeah.
Last year that whole inside O-line was bad. But with Becton now, I think it'll get a little bit better. and Pipkins back in his original spot, he has to perform at a high level. I mean, we have a backup. He looks good, but Pipkins is being given this opportunity. So if he screws up here, then he's cut, in my opinion. I don't think they give him another chance.
I will tell you, in camp, he looks in better shape.
Okay.
He does. So at least there's there's some
Some hope. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's the job of the O-line. Like, protect your quarterback, create lanes for the running back. That's what you have to do. So if he can just deliver there, I think that'll be big. And week 1, we get a tough opponent already with Chris Jones. So let's see what that O-line can do. And I think week 2, we play the Raiders. So you get Max Crosby there. So, I mean, it's going to be just a very competitive season. A lot of close games, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And whoever plays better in that second half is who's going to win that game. I don't see a lot of blowouts this year.
No, and that's where that run game is going to come down. Just the same way that the Steelers did to us. With Najee, you wear them down, and we saw it. That defense wore down, and Najee was running all over us. And if we can do that to other teams, then we'll pull out these close games.
Right.
Because we have Digger.
I'm hoping from Najee. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the thing is, speaking of the Raiders, their secondary is very weak. That's where, if I'm Roman, I'm letting Herbert throw the ball 40 times. If that happens, we will with ease beat the Raiders because they just don't have a good defense. Like, you can easily put up 30 plus against that team without a doubt with the receivers that we have, and without a doubt, I think we can put up 30 plus. So games like that, I think, is where fans especially are saying to Roman, let Herbert throw the ball. Just don't focus too much on the run that game, and then go right back to it the next. So hopefully he listens.
That'll be an interesting game because they have Genty and Bowers, and they're going to lean on those guys.
Yeah. I mean, I would say it would be a shootout, but 2 reasons I don't think it would be. Our defense is just too good, I think, to let that team run amok. And I just don't trust Geno Smith that much. I think it's definitely an upgrade over what they had last year.
Yeah.
But to say that Raiders are going to make the playoffs in this stacked division, I just don't see it. I don't see it at all. I mean, they're plus 2,000 to win the division, whereas the Broncos are like plus, I think it was 150, and the Chargers were plus 285. So that's a big difference. See, I don't think they win the division. I don't think they make the playoffs. I think offensively they're very talented. Bowers and Janty and Myers you still have there. Dante Thornton, 6'5". I think he'll be a monster for years to come, but maybe not this year because he may not get enough opportunities. So a lot of question marks for the Raiders, but I think there are 2 teams that could be tanking come mid-season, and those are the Colts and the Raiders for Arch Manning, because they both need quarterbacks, and the supporting cast is pretty good. Just the QBs are not. And Geno Smith, to his credit, he's gotten a lot better. But when it comes to games like, let's say, the Chargers, where you're going to feel that pressure from Mac every single play, I think he folds. That's where he folds.
Yeah. My only thing there is Coach Pete Carroll. It's hard to see him tanking games.
Right.
Like, I see him pulling out 6-7 wins or whatever.
Yeah, I could see them getting 7.
Yeah,
I could see that happening.
Yeah, and my concern about the Chargers defense was this Rams game. The Chargers defense has looked great. They didn't look so great against the Rams, and it could have just been one game, but the Rams backup Stenson Bennett, they were moving the ball well, and some fans are concerned about that.
Yeah, I don't blame them. I think the only good thing is preseason, and now you can look at the tape and fix those mistakes. Yeah. Obviously, no Mac, no Derwin, but still, no excuse. It's a backup quarterback. You got to imagine if that was Stafford. So you got to step up. And that week 1 matchup is going to be a real test for this team. And it's in Brazil. I know the field is going to be completely different, and it's just going to be a different environment completely. But that's for both teams, right? So I think it cancels out. And you guys just focus on your game. And we saw that Rashee Rice, he's not going to be suspended the first 4 games. No surprise. He's a target hog. So you got to really step up against him, whether that's Tariq Still, Cam Hart, Dante Jackson, potentially. I don't know who will be covering those star receivers, but we'll see when the season starts. But they got to really be on him.
Yeah, it'll be a great test. And I'm sure we will see right away, some calls we'll be upset about. And it'll be real interesting if it's a close game, what's going to happen.
I think, and we'll talk about this more, but I think 2-minute offense, this is where Chargers can shine. Between the run game, especially if it's a tie, right? You just need the field goal. Between the run game, between Keenan and Ladd, I think this is where they shine the most. And then you have faith in Dicker to get you a 50-yard field goal. I think that's where we will shine the most. It's just a matter of, can they, meet that pressure? And I think they can. And let's get that, how should I say this? Like, the pressure off Herbert's back and get a playoff win, because until that happens, that's what's going to be the criticism.
Yeah.
I just wish, Herbert would go back to that rookie season, but with Greg Roman, we know that's not going to happen. But at the same time, I think this is truly his best supporting cast. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this plays out for Herbert.
I agree that this is his best supporting cast, and having Keenan again is huge, because that's a guy he can trust, in critical situations.
Yeah.
And like Roman said, imagine Herbert with a running game, and we still had to imagine it last season. So, it could be a whole different thing if we have a running game, and that play action is even more deadly, and with all these weapons, who's going to stop us?
Yeah, I think getting KLS was huge, because truly this guy's going to be a deep threat. And I could even see him moving up to wide receiver 3 by midseason, truly. The way he came in and replaced QJ against the Rams, I was surprised that with that, he just stepped on the field and already caught what was like a 20-yard catch.
Yeah.
I mean, that's incredible.
Yeah. Hey, and Harris can be a deep threat too.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll see how long it takes for these guys to make an impact in the real games. But I can see both these guys being huge for us.
I can too. It's just the matter of, at least for this season, having Keenan and Ladd, that for sure. They're both going to be on the field. Who's that third going to be? And I think it's whoever steps up first. If KLS comes in and catches a deep bomb, they're going to trust him. If Harris comes in and he proves himself, and let's say KLS drops a couple passes or whatever, Harris comes in and builds that consistency of catching passes, he could be that 3 guy. There's still QJ. So it'll be interesting. But the thing is, with those 3, it's a lot better than where we were at last year.
Yeah.
So I think that is what fans have to realize, is that we're at a better situation now than we were last year. Yes, the Slater injury will loom large. I get that. But we got to just look forward now. We can't dwell on the past. It's unfortunate what happened, but next man up.
Yeah, and I think people are forgetting, and this is important for fantasy too, the tight end position too. Tyler Conklin, Rondy Gadsden.
Yeah.
Both these guys can be huge for us. Conklin, especially in training camp, has a really good connection with Herbert already. And Gadsden,
one of those videos.
Yeah. And Gadsden has the talent. So it just may take him some time to get more playing time and develop more. But both these guys can be huge for us. So
yeah, if there was no Conklin, I would have Gadsden having a top 20 tight end season.
Yeah.
He has a lot of potential, and that's exactly what Herbert needed. Like last year, we were talking about Colson Loveland, Tyler Warren. They both went early. So getting Hampton there was big. But getting Gadsden late like that, I think it's going to pay off in the future for sure. And this season, he will be involved. It's just how much will he be involved? Because he could also be a red zone threat. I could see him lining up on the outside as a receiver in the red zone. I definitely could see that. I mean, he's a behemoth. So it'll be interesting to see how they utilize him.
Yeah. Yeah. And I want to see if Conklin gets involved in the red zone too.
Yeah, I think he definitely will. I think more so for Conklin in tight end position. And Gaston could also be tight end position, or he could be lined up on the outside. It'll be interesting. Like you could utilize him possibly like Brock Bowers. I'm not saying he's on the level of Bowers, but I think he could be a tier 3 tight end this season. So let's see what he's got.
Yeah, yeah, and you still have Disley too. I mean,
yeah,
yeah, he had that terrible Houston game. Yeah, especially in the blocking, but every now and then he gets out there and catches a big pass.
I think it was that Cardinals game where he had, I think it was 6 targets, 6 catches, 81 yards. There was some game like that where he was just catching everything. So he's reliable. Yeah. And even the tight end position, you upgraded from last year. So everywhere you look, there are upgrades. It's just a matter of now going and delivering. So I think we do a lot better this year. Yes, the competition's tougher. That's another thing with the Henderson-Hampton debate. The competition for Hampton is a lot tougher than Henderson's. I think Henderson was 19th toughest schedule. Hampton was 2nd. So it makes a difference. But I don't think that the way some fans talk about Hampton, it's like he's nothing anymore. Because Roman said that there's no workhorse. I think it'll be more efficient running from Hampton. Yeah, he's not going to get 20 touches. But even if he sees 12 to 14, that's more than enough for him to be effective.
Yeah, and I have seen the Dr. Jesse Morse posting, about how Roman's RBs don't catch passes, and historically that's true. But if you've got a Hampton who is a threat in that area, and I've seen it in camp, Jesse hasn't been there to see it, but yeah, if you have that, I don't see why you just don't do it,
Right. No, that's encouraging for sure. That in camp, at least, they're going to him. I think they're testing the waters too. And first couple weeks they may not go to him in the air, but hey, buy him low at that point. Because remember last year, Lad started off pretty slow. And I remember I had offered Kittle and Shaheed, the Saints wide receiver, for Lad before the season started. They rejected. Within like 4 weeks, I offered Shaheed again, just Shaheed, and he took it. And I was like, okay, that was easy. But there are people who panic.
Yeah.
So if Hampton, for whatever reason, gets off to a slow start, definitely trade for him because he's going to pick up the pace. But I don't think he's going to have that trouble. I think he'll be just fine from the start.
Yeah, he should, because he's going to have that lead role, Yeah.
I think also having Najee on that roster kind of scares people away, on top of Roman not going to RBs through the air. So that combination, I think, is what's driving Hampton down on the draft board. And I get it, but it's being over exaggerated. I think he's still going to be part of the offense. It's not like he's going to be completely shut off.
Yeah, so. And it's funny that Genty is going like 6 overall, and you've got Mostert there. People forget Mostert has been a huge fantasy back, not that long ago, it's like he's not even there. People, like.
And the other thing with the Raiders is Genty, he's a great running back, but that's too early to take him. Like you could take Derrick Henry there, for example, if you need a running back. CMC probably still there at 6. They're going to be playing from behind. I think people forget this. That defense is not good. They're going to be playing a lot of games from behind. So they're going to have to throw that ball.
And their O-line is not good either.
No.
I think that's more important. That we saw that first game where he had negative 1 yards. The O-line was terrible. So
yeah.
Yeah.
I think he'll be a good player, but not as good as people are portraying him to be. Like, he was a monster in college, no doubt. But NFL is another animal. So, you know, I wish him success. I think he'll be fine, just not a 6th overall pick type of.
I think it's the Marvin Harrison Jr. all over again from last year. People had him in the first round, and he disappointed people, even though he was good in real life.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but
I think he'll bounce back this year, and he's going like 3rd, 4th round, late 3rd, early 4th. I think he'll bounce back this year, but last year it was just too early to take him. You know, I remember he was going like 1.10, 1.12, something like that. So like late 1st, early 2nd for Harrison last year. Janty, because the RB position is more scarce, I could see him going maybe 2nd next year, depending on how he does this year. But I've seen people take him 3rd overall, and it's like slowly, like, hit the brakes, because you guys are just crazy for thinking this guy's going to outperform all these other talents. That's insane to me.
Yeah, me too. I don't think I'm touching him first round.
No, not at all. Maybe not even 2nd. I don't know. It's because 2nd round you already get to the Bowers type of, you know, realm, and Bowers I think will do fantastic this year. But then again, you look at the other tight ends that are available later on, like Evan Ingram, Tyler Warren, Colson Loveland. These guys are also going to be involved in those offenses. So is it really worth going for Bowers that early? For some it is. For some it's not. You could go with Drake London. You know, Ladd is in that area too. The 2nd round, 3rd round-ish area. So it's just a matter of preference, I think. And if you're a Raiders fan, obviously you're going to go for Bowers. But if you're not a Raiders fan or a Bowers fan, it's just, I think getting a tight end later on will pay off more.
Yeah, the thing about tight ends early, like I got Sam Laporta last year after he had that huge rookie season, and it wasn't there last year. You know, so you always risk that. You know.
Yeah.
But is there anything else we want to touch on here, or?
I think that's all for today. But we'll be back next week. We'll break down the schedule for the team and give our record predictions. Look at the odds for how many games they're projected to win. Last year I think it was like 8.5, and we both said easily over.
Yeah.
So let's see what it is this season next week. And we will break down week 1 matchup as well.
Sounds good. And remember to subscribe and hit that like button. Drop us a comment too. And bolt up.
See you guys.
See ya.